Hey y'all, and welcome to Gemini Outdoors. And today we will be evaluating the Camillus Cuda. Okay everybody, as usual, we are going to start off this evaluation talking about theory of use. It is very important. Primary theory of use for this blade will be self-defense, tactical defense. Okay, the blade is just too big for EDC. Yet again, the last few blades I've evaluated have been too big for EDC. Secondary, I could say EDC. This would be more geared toward EDC than the other two previous ones, except for maybe the Kershaw Tanto. That's pretty much it for theory of use. And let's talk about reality of use. And that's, in reality, do you want to carry a blade this big, this long in your pocket? Now, it's not as big and gaudy as, say, the CRKT Ryan is, but it's still, even closed, it's still quite big. And you can feel it in your pocket. Now, I carried this blade, and I failed to mention in the last video with the Ryan. I carried the Ryan around for about a month and a half, 2 months. I carried this one for about 3 months. And I can say I got a pretty good feel for this particular blade. Reality of use is this. It's just a big blade. And like I said before, I don't like big blades for EDC. I prefer to be mobile instead of capable, I guess you could say. The capability, I prefer mobility over capability when it comes to my EDC. Now, this would be just fine in a if I knew that I was going somewhere, say going into the heart of town, into a bad section of town that I know there's a possibility that something could happen and that some knucklehead might try to rob me or hurt me or my family in some way, would I carry a blade like this before I would carry a EDC? Yes, I would. I would do that. I would carry a blade like this. So let's get to specs. Okay, now that we're through with reality of use. Reality of use, like I said, it'd be too big for EDC. Specs. The weight is 4 ounces. The overall length is 8.75 inches. So when the blade's fully deployed, it is 8.75 inches. The blade length is 3.75 inches. The materials, the handle is a G10 polymer type of material. It does grip pretty good. The blade is AUS 8. This is the first AUS 8 blade I have ever owned, and I like the steel. Most of my blades are MOV 440, 420. I really like the AUS 8. It's sharpened up really quick. Seems to hold its edge fairly well. It is a liner lock with a very unique deployment system. Okay, it's not an assisted opening. You have a little slot right here on this side. I don't know if you can. The camera shows it real well. There's a little slide right there. Push slide assisted opening is what I call it. So it kind of is assisted opening, but it's not. Okay, it doesn't have any type of spring or anything like that, or a push bar or a torsion bar or anything like that in it. It's just your thumb. You take it, you push that blade, and there is a downside to it. Okay, if you push it, you see how it doesn't want to fly out there real quick. Sometimes you got to put a little wrist action to it to get it to deploy really quick. That's the trick to it. Okay, it also doesn't detent very well, or it doesn't hold into the knife very well. You see, so that's kind of a downside to it. You have to practice it too. You're not just going to grab this thing and start flipping it open and just easy peasy. It ain't going to work that way, okay? You're going to have to really practice it. You're really going to have, sometimes it won't go in there real hard like, you're used to. Like with an assisted opening, it's kind of easy to do that. But with this one, you really got to work on it because there is a little bit of a trick to it, okay? But other than that, I really liked it. Okay, positive aspects about this blade. It's a quick blade deployment when you do it right. You can mess this up, and if your life is depending on it, okay, you better have practiced with it, because it can mess up with you really quick. You can mess it up. You can fling it out there and it won't open completely, and then you're in a world of hurt. Okay. The blade length is very good for self-defense. That's why I said primary theory of use is self-defense, tactical defense. But like I said, you better practice with this thing for quite a while. Like I said, I carried it around for 3 months, and even when I get it out today, messing with it, just playing with it or whatever, I'm practicing with it all the time, and I'm getting pretty good at flinging this thing out. So, good length for self-defense, tactical defense. Negative aspect. The blade deployment can be tricky. You got to practice with this blade, okay? It's just something you're not going to pick up overnight. I can guarantee you 90% of you guys aren't going to pick this up overnight. It's going to take a lot of practice. It took some time for me to get it to where I can fling it out there just about every time now and get it to lock up, okay? The blade length is too long for EDC, for me. Now, it may not be for you. It could be one of these blades that, hey, I love this thing, you know, and that's fine. If you like to carry big blades, long blades, that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and gripe you about it, okay? That's your preference. It's not mine, okay? I don't like big blades. I don't like heavy blades. For my EDC anyways. I like something that's kind of in the middle. All right, I don't want it too small. I don't want one too big. And this one's just a little bit too big for me. Word of mouth, mostly positive. I mean, this is going to be a positive evaluation of this blade. Camillus did a very good job on it. I really like it. It's very unique, and I like that. You know, is this thing going to ever be worth way out there? Oh yeah, I forgot to mention there's some jimping back here on the back. If you're a fan of jimping, it's there, okay? But it also has a false edge on the back of it as well, on this part right here. I lost my train of thought there, but anyway, word of mouth is mostly positive on this. Camillus did a very good job on it. I love the blade steel, like I mentioned before. I used it for quite a while. It held its edge pretty good with me anyways, and then once it did dull up, it sharpened up pretty quick, so I didn't have any issue sharpening it at all. The belt clip is a little bit, it'll deep carry, but also, like I said, it's a long blade. Even when it's folded up, it's still a very long blade, and you're going to feel it in your pocket, and that's what I don't like about it. So let's move on to the eval card, shall we? Alright, eval card time for the Camillus Cuda. Performance. And remember, the theory of use for this knife is self-defense, tactical defense, okay? That's what I am grading it on, evaluating it on. Performance, 9 out of 10. Reliability, a 9 out of 10. Durability, a 9 out of 10. Value, an 8 out of 10. It's a little bit more expensive. It's up there, say the $30, $40 range. Versatility is, these next three are where it's going to take a hit at. I gave it a 7 out of 10 for versatility because of theory of use. Compatibility, 7 out of 10 because of theory of use. Simplicity, I gave it a 7 out of 10 because it's not very simple to use. I mean, once you've got to practice with this knife. I'm telling you guys, you're going to have to practice with this deployment system. Alright? You're not just going to be able to fling this thing out there with your thumb every single time and it lock up. And that's why I knocked off on simplicity, okay? The deployment is a little tricky. Alright, maintenance. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Theory of use, I gave it an 8 out of 10. And on the lockability scale, I gave it an 8 out of 10. For an overall score of 81 out of 100 and a letter grade of B. Moving on now to the recommendations to the manufacturer. Make the push slide assisted opening system smoother if possible. That's the only thing that I really did, and maybe make the blade a little bit smaller. I don't know if they can do that with this particular deployment type of thing. I think it needs to be long in order for you to get that deployment out. My recommendations to my audience is that I recommend the knife if you are going to use something for self-defense. If you're going to use it for self-defense or tactical defense, you got time to practice with it and get good with it. This is your knife. It's a pretty nice knife for the money. I mean, you're not forking out $200 for it, but it is a little bit steep on the price for me. In closing, when I got this knife, I was thinking EDC. I was thinking, along those lines, and very quickly after I had gotten it and I had used it, I realized that this knife was not, at least for me, in the EDC TOU, in the EDC theory of use. But self-defense and tactical, would I throw this on LBE? You see that right then? Even now, I still have trouble deploying it sometimes. So you got to practice it. It is, you got to flick that wrist a little bit with it. But would I recommend putting this on a tactical for like your LBE, or like if you're going into a situation where you need a good knife, a good sizable knife? That's my son. Hey, buddy.
Hi. I was going to put this on charger in here.
You want to put on charger?
Yeah.
Your little tablet? Just set it over there and Daddy will get it, okay?
Okay.
All right, buddy.
We're ready for bed.
Yeah, we're going to get ready for bed here in a minute.
Okay.
We still got a little ways.
Okay.
All right, buddy. I love you.
I do you bye.
Bye, buddy. That's my boy. But anyway, like I was saying in closing, if you're going into a situation where you need a knife for self-defense or tactical defense, this would be a pretty good option for a folding blade. I'd like to thank you for watching the video. I'd like for you to subscribe to my channel. Please help me out with the subscriptions. I've really been needing them. I've been gaining a few here lately, but I really need that. I need help with the views. So please check out all my videos. I've got quite a few of them that I've already made, and I've got quite a few that I'm making now. I really could use the views and the subscriptions as well. So I'd like to say thank you for watching, and y'all have a blessed day.